everybody, welcome to Making It Monday. It's a good job we know what day it is. I look a bit pale, don't I? I didn't put any lippy. Well, I did put some lippy on. It's just a bit pale. Yeah, welcome. I think we're all good to go. Look, somebody says it looks like it's in the right place because we've got an event built, and I'll talk to you about it later. But I've got an event built. I'm going to use the term we because, of course, the admin team will always be involved. But we've got I'll get in the centre. We've got an event built for the 5th of December, which is going to be a paid Facebook Live. Now, I tried to do this before and it always a bit miserably failed, but this time it's going to be really successful. And what it's going to be is 3 Christmas decorations, so 3 holiday decorations if you're in the US. And that event is scheduled for the 5th of December at, I think, 2 o'clock or 2:30. Well, it might even be 3. I think it's 2 o'clock. And sometimes my software can get confused, but it looks like it's all fine. I'm not going to dwell on it. Anyway, if you are interested in attending that on the 5th of December, there's lots of people, there's nearly 200 people have said they're interested, but you have to buy a ticket, I'm afraid. Even if you're interested, it won't allow you access to it, okay, because it's a locked Facebook Live. I know. It's just something I'm trying. I thought it'd be quite fun, actually. I thought we could get together and have a bit of fun. And it's going to be a private event, so that's even better. So welcome to Making It Monday. I think you will be so delighted. I don't have the finished sample. But you will be so delighted with the pattern, the design that our Gemma has come up with. I kind of threw down the gauntlet to the admin team and said, we need a Christmas pattern. Who's going to make one, Gemma? And Gemma said, oh, that'll be me then. Well, her arm wasn't that twisted. But yes, she came up with the most amazing design, which, of course, if you've downloaded the pattern, of which there's well over 500 downloads since lunchtime today, which is however many hours. What is that, 7 hours? And that's incredible. And well done, Gemma. It's just a super duper pattern, and I think obviously you're going to make one just to see how it goes, but quite honestly, you know, there's your Christmas table sorted, and it's just going to look so lovely and festive, isn't it? So we're going to be making the Christmas Cutlery Keeper. That's Kath that came up with that tongue-twisting title. And actually I've had trouble remembering that all day. So yes, it's Project 48 in the Making It Monday series. And it's just going to be an absolute fun make, and I haven't made it yet. I'm going to be making it like fresh, so let's see how it goes. I've got to follow Gemma's instructions that our Kath has edited for me, or for her, for us. And the other thing I wanted to point out this evening, if you hear my dog, she always barks at this time of night. The other thing I wanted to point out was tonight I printed my pattern in black and white. Okay. That's not because I've run out of coloured ink, but I thought it could also be another option for you, okay? So if you're at all worried about the cost of printing ink, blah, then print it in black and white. This is one of those patterns where you do need to print, at the very least, if I can find it. Oh no, I cut it up. The pattern piece. There's my pattern piece there. I forgot about that. So yeah, so you can, if you wanted to, print it in black and white. You can also print it, even if you feel that's a little bit extravagant, leave off the front page, okay? Because pretty much, nearly pretty much always, we always give you another picture inside as to what it looks like. So that's not, I'm not going to guarantee that, because sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. Anyway, so I thought I'd show you that so you know exactly what you can do. You know, you can look at it on the screen, you know that. With Making It Mondays, they are nice, easy, beginner projects that you can do whatever you wish to with. to embellish and enhance and to make your own. You know that. You don't have to ask me. If you want to make it smaller, make it smaller. If you want to make it bigger, make it bigger. If you want to add sparkles to it, add sparkles to it. If you want to do it slightly in a different way, do it in a slightly different way, okay? There are no rules with Making It Monday. The pattern is yours to do what you wish with, other than give it away. It would be nice not to do that. It would be nice to send somebody to my website to download it for themselves, but I'll trust you on that one. Yes, so the Making It Monday is all about keeping it nice and simple. And of course, if you want the pattern, it's lizzycurtis.com. And it's the MIM patterns that you need to go to in the shop. And then we've got 48 that are numbered, but actually we've got 49 because of Prinny. One day I'm gonna have to put a number on it, aren't I? Because every week I say that. There's 48 plus 1. It's a bit like a wedding invitation, isn't it? 48 plus 1. Right. So, what you needed to do was, and this is following the pattern. I'm not going to deviate. I shall follow the pattern. You can do it whichever way you like, and that's great. You can tell me about that if you want to on YouTube. So many people do. So please, let's just get YouTube up. Oh, here we are. Oh no, that's the mount. That's the pin cushion. Oh, I can't find me now. Let's just see if I can find you on YouTube. I've had problems today with things. Just not, I could say in life in general, but that's not true. Oh, there we are. I've got it now. If I can just see it. Can I see it? Maybe not. I'll have to see if I can fiddle about with that later. It would be nice to actually go on to YouTube to see, but oh, hold on, is it going to allow me? No, let's go back. Sorry about this, because normally I like to see it, and it's not allowing me at the moment. It's saying no, you are not allowed to see your own video. Oh, here we are. I can see it now. Great. I've turned the sound down. Sorry about that. Technicals. So yes, I'm going to follow the instructions. If you're already bored, please switch off. I'm not going to keep you. And we're going to just set to. So on the instructions, it says, cut out the tree template and glue onto cardboard. Let me just take this off. Do you know what? I need some quilter's tape, and I bet anything you like, I'm not going to be able to put my hands on it. Well, I'll just have to improvise if not. I'm just looking around to see if I can see any. Anyway, there is my template. I'll do it that way because it's neater. And that's a really good idea because, for instance, you could, obviously you're going to cut it out of paper, the pattern piece, and you can pin it to your fabric. But I want you to understand how many might you make, okay? You might make one and think, nah, it's not for me, maybe one. Actually, it'd be great for a gift. Pop sweets in there instead of your cutlery. But you might want to make 6 or 10 or 12 or 20, however many people you're having over for lunch that particular day, whatever day that might be. So transferring onto cardboard is a great idea. I've got 2 layers of 250 GSM card. For those that don't know about paper crafting, it's a good, nice, solid card, but not too heavy. Excuse me. So I've glued 2 layers together and I've cut around my tree, and that was my template. So I can put that to one side now. However, on the original pattern piece that I cut out, I got my rotary cutter and my ruler, and I went round the whole piece cutting back 1/4 inch, and then I used that as my template for the stabilizer, for the wadding. Okay, so that's what I did. And then what I did, because it's covered in a temporary adhesive, I then stuck it back on my tree like that. It's a bit rough now. And that was, and that I won't lose it because there's a little bit of temporary glue on there. So at least for the time being, I'm not going to lose it. So it's safe. You can put it in your file. You can clip it to your pattern piece, and there we are. You've got it there for as long as you need to. So a good little tip there with your pattern pieces. I'm going to just reach across and see if I've got my quilting tape handy. Bear with. Ooh. Oh yeah, here we go. Great. I don't think I've got much there, but we'll give it a go. I look a bit washed out today, don't I? Nicholas says an old cereal box is ideal if you have no card. See, that's the perfect weight, and I would still do... you could do 2 layers of that. Probably 1 layer might be enough. Anyway, great idea. Thanks, Nick. Sheila says, good idea. Let me just get rid of my mouse just for a minute. Sally says, good evening. Sorry, a bit late. Roast chicken fight. Who is stripping it? I won, not me. Had an appointment with Lizzie. Oh, that sounds interesting. Who's stripping the chicken? Is that a good thing? I don't know. Yes, Rosemary says she uses old file folders. Oh, you know what? We're going to be packed with ideas. And, oh, who says this? Kay. Hello, Lizzie. I really like this one. Tell Gemma. Gemma will be in the comments there on Facebook, on YouTube. She will be there. Gemma Joy. Look out for her. Give her lots of kisses. Give her lots of hugs. Well, you know, sort of virtual hugs. Tell her how fantastic she is. There's a reason for this. First of all, I need her to do a Facebook Live with me. And secondly, I want her to design something else because she's obviously sheer brilliant at it. So, you know, you got to milk it. Right, so we transferred the design onto card. We've done all that. We've cut out our fabric. Well, and I say we, that's the royal we, because I don't know about you. And I've used my Liberty Silver. Can you see it? Look at that. Ooh, lovely. And I've also used the Liberty with the trees. Had to be. Can you see? That's just this year's collection of Liberty. So if you've got your hands on any of that, that's what I've used. And there is my wadding stuck to it already. Now actually I've used H640, Veseline H640. It's a polyester iron-on wadding. It's a lightweight. You can use your 80/20 with a spray and spray it on. There's no reason why not. I just happened to decide I was going to use H640. Just trimming my bits up there. I've just noticed it's a little bit dodge. Yeah, so whatever you fancy. If you don't want to put wadding in, you don't have to. Use a stabilizer, you know, like an interfacing, like an H250, something along those lines, a medium weight Pellon. But look, there's tons out there, and I am not here to tell you what the interfacings are and what you should use, but it's a medium weight, lightish. It's not thick. I don't know if you can see, it's not thick. You can use thermal if you want, but you're only going to put your cutlery in it, so it doesn't necessarily need to be thermal, okay? But anyway, you decide. Line it with another piece of cotton fabric that you've got waste and just make it like that if you want to. So lots and lots of ideas of how you can make the Christmas tree. So going back to my pattern here, which I told you I haven't made it yet. You needed to also cut 2 rectangles for the pocket. We've done that. Phew. Kath says to adhere the wadding to the reverse of 1 tree piece. Done it. Tick. So the first thing we need to do is to embellish the tree piece with the wadding on with French knots or add decorations. Now I'm going to do a few French knots. I'm not going to do a huge amount because it's not about necessarily me showing you how to do French knots, but we'll do a few. 3 or 4 maybe. How many colours have I got? I've got 4 colours out already threaded up on a needle, so I'll do at least 2 of each, shall I? I'll do it on the overhead. What she's saying is make sure you stay 1/2 inch away from the edges and leave room for the pocket. So we'll have a look at that on the overhead. And add decorations. Now I did think about mini pom-poms that you could just glue on. It's a cutlery holder. You probably won't put it in the wash. You probably won't want to launder it unless you're putting your dirty cutlery back into it, in which case think about how you're going to adhere these pom-poms on, that sort of thing. You could use buttons if you want to, that would be rather nice. It doesn't matter about the height of things because the cutlery will sit around it. So think about all the things that you've got in your stash and get them out and have some fun. Don't forget, I'm going to make 1. If you're going to make 10, consider the amount of work that you want to do before you commit yourself to doing 10 with about 50 French knots on. That's a lot. That's a lot. So consider all those things. Okay, sermon over. Let's go on the overhead. And let me have a look. Overhead front camera. I'm losing my ability to teach here. So there's my tree, and obviously we've got another one. Where have we got it? Oh, it's under here. I've got it already right size together, but I'm going to use the one that's got the wadding on to do the French knot. So this one can go to one side. I'll just show you my pocket while I've got it there. Now, obviously, my pocket is going to sit on here, but it's going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. What you could do if you wanted to, I don't know if my heat erasable will work, but what you could do is just do a rough drawing around your pocket. Don't forget, the pocket will be smaller. Okay, I'm only doing this roughly just to give me a little bit of an idea. Can you see where that pocket's going to go? I'm not sure you can see it, so I'll make it a bit bigger. I'm not frightened about doing this on my fabric because this is iron heat erasable, and a friction pen. I mean, I'm using Threader's pen, Crafter's Companion pen, but something like that, and then we can iron it away. And if it does leave a ghost, it won't matter because we're on white and silver. So, but it gives me an idea. Okay, so with my mouse, there we go. Now this is my old mouse. The new mouse, which is Winnie the Mouse, is bigger than this, but my grandson decided to borrow it. I saw him on Saturday and he loved my mouse so much he decided he wanted it. So there we are, that's it. And actually my eldest daughter Adrienne was talking to me in the car park just before she was going to go and swinging it around by its tail. Yes, you've guessed it. So the tail came off, but that's her fault. So look, I've just gone through all my layers, through the wadding, through the fabric. I've got my thread that just there. I'm using green. You can see I've got all my colours lined up. I'm using all 6 strands. Now you don't have to do that, but it's just, I don't know, sometimes it's just easier to go with it. I'm using an embroidery needle. Now you can cut your threads if you want to, or you can do what I'm doing is skip across. Just make sure that you leave enough of a so it's loose, yeah, okay, it's loose. You don't want it tight, otherwise your tree will be a little bit distorted. It'll look like one of those trees that's been left over, and it's the one that you feel sorrier for. So there's a couple of French knots done, yeah, and because it's 6 strands, I'm just going to wrap this around my. That will do. I mean, to be honest, you might want to finish this off a little bit better than me, but obviously I just want you to have some idea of how to do a French knot if you don't know, and the sort of thing that our Gemma wanted you to do, which is fab. So there we go. So let's just do, now I'm using the blue, so I'm just kind of randomly going in there. I'm not thinking too hard about this at all. I mean, you might want to do one on every point of the tree. That would look quite nice. You could perhaps put a cluster of them up the top. Don't forget your seam allowance, 1/4 of an inch, or I'm assuming it's 1/4 of an inch. Oh yes, I've just read the pattern. So let's put another one here, and again keep that jump over stitch, you know, loose, and then do your next French knot. So I'm going to do 2 of each colour, just so you get the idea. And if you've just joined me and you wanted to stitch along, this is your time to cut out your fabric. I must admit it takes a little while to cut the trees because of the shape, but you've got time. You know, I only go at a certain pace. I did a lovely little workshop on Saturday at my local fabric store. And you perhaps, if you look at the Lizzy Curtis page, you'll see some of the pictures of the bags we made. It was a mini Gladstone bag. And somebody said, you know, I'm not a bag maker. I'm really anxious about this. Do you think we'll get it finished? Do you think I'll have something to take home? And I said, you will absolutely get it finished. I'll make sure. And then somebody else said, you know what, I'm a really new stitcher. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to cope. And I said, look, I tell you what, the whole class can go at your pace. That's the pace, which was great because everybody relaxed and had a good time. And by the end of it all, they had the most amazing little bags. Oh gosh, they're so utterly beautiful, so utterly beautiful. And everybody, it's a funny thing because it's a bag that doesn't look anything until you finished it and you've put the hardware on. And as soon as you've put the hardware on, it transforms it into this magical, beautiful little bag. And they were all, well, I hope they said they were, so I'm assuming they're not lying to me, but they all said how much they loved it. So, yeah, and all credit to them. Look at that, isn't that fab? I'll bring it, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see it a bit better. So you might want to glue these little stitches so they don't come undone. You might want to do a better job than me finishing off, but you know what, time is of the essence, as always, when we do a demonstration. So there, can you see? They look amazing. And of course you could have more down here. I've just kind of rushed a little bit. Maybe we could have broken our threads off and done more down here and all of that. So you decide. You decide. But like I say, just remember your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you want to come in minimum of 3/8, and in the pattern it says 1/2 inch. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to go round and mark a 1/2 inch all the way around so you don't get anything in the way of your seams. Okay, so the next thing in the pattern, it says place the tree pieces right sides together and pin or clip, leaving the bottom edge open for turning. Okay, so this is my right side, and that's my right side going down, so they're now right sides together. That's a stroke of luck. And then I'm going to use my gorgeous pins. Now look, I just want you to know this. When my grandson William, who obviously I love dearly, stole my mouse, my daughter was very kind to me and popped the pins in my machine, you know, my Suki that I have wrapped around my machine. So I've still got all my Taylor Seville, I can never say it, Taylor Seville pins, which are absolutely top notch. And if I'm going to do that so it's going out, and if you wanted a treat and you wanted some new pins, get these ones, the fine ones, they are stunning. Okay, so let's move all our gadgets and gizmos. So there's my tree, right sides together. I've pinned it. Obviously, I don't want this to slip, so you might want to use the walking foot if you want to. I'm just going to go for it. And we're going to leave this bottom edge open. So we're going to stitch all the way around with a 1/4 inch seam allowance until we come back to here. So we start here or wherever and go round and back to here. Okay, so I'll put you on side camera. So let's just do that before we get started, and I'll remember to move you across. And I'll bring my lovely, so this is my Suki, look, and there's all my, can you see all my blue pins here that my daughter transferred from the mouse? Oh, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. I won't make another mouse. I'll just use my little old mouse, because my little one, my little old mouse, the first one I made, is a little bit smaller than yours. Yeah, she's looking a bit tired now. She's probably a couple of years old. Yeah. Anyway, right, so off we go. So stitch length, actually I would do, I would bring your stitch length down a little bit. I mean, your stitch length should be on about 2.5-ish. I would perhaps take it down to maybe 2.25, something like that, and try and keep all your layers together, which I shall desperately try to do. If it shifts, it shifts, okay? I don't want you to lose sleep about it. You've got to remember what you're making. It's going to come out once a year, maybe for 1 or perhaps 2 meals, and I don't want you to get stressed that it's not 100%, as you might think, perfect, okay? Because I tell you what, it jolly well will be, and those people that have dinner with you that day will be absolutely thrilled. And the other thing, of course, is that you could personalise. So each one of these could have somebody's name embroidered on it. I mean, I'm not keeping to my 1/4 of an inch here. Goodness knows what we're going to end up with. So sorry, Gemma. Your pattern is absolutely fantastic. It's just the shoddy demonstrator. So, there we are. So if anybody knows me from my other sewing world on TV, of course, as you might know, I left that yesterday and I'm no longer a TV demonstrator. Although, having said that, you never know what turns up. And so I'm all yours now. The Mim group, the Making It Monday group, and my Lizzy Curtis page, and of course YouTube, and of course where's the other place? Gold. My gold group. Now I've just realised I've got black in my bobbin. This is from the other day and I still haven't changed it. So I do apologise for that. But at least you'll see the stitching when I turn this over. Oops, let's go back. I've cut the stitch cut the thread because I went just a stitch too far. So let's go down. Make sure your layers are stuck together. Keep everything lovely and neat. And do a back stitch because you want it to be secure. So if I turn this round now, you'll be able to see my stitching, because the bobbin is in black. And there's the front. Okay, so back, front. Good. Sack the demonstrator, Gemma. Yes, Sheila, sack the demonstrator. Well, of course, you see, perhaps we should have had Gemma to demonstrate this. Yes, so be careful what you wish for. Right, so there's my piece. You can see that's the back of it. Or actually, it's the front. But you can see the stitching. There's the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip off all of our points. So I'll do this on the front so you can easily see it. While I'm doing that, let's have a quick hello. So hi to Lucy in Ottawa. Oh, she's given everybody a kiss and a hug. That's lovely, Lucy. You're so kind. Kath says it was a fab workshop. Kath travelled all the way up from Somerset with her friend Tracy, who's adorable, and she's now a firm favourite of mine. And we've got Sharon. Oh, this is all on YouTube. We've got Sharon here from Florida. I'm not going to even try to read that name. I just, I'm going to make a fool of myself if I try. So I'm cutting all my points off. Hold on. They're not very close to the stitches, but there we are. Can you see? And then we're going to cut into the points. So Kath says, yes, they were all different but gorgeous. This is the little bags I was talking to you about. Marion says, can't say no to a grandson. Of course you can't. What? You absolutely can't. Although, I have to say, one day I did have to say no to him because a lovely lady made me a miniature teddy bear in, I'm going to say cashmere. It was a very, very expensive fabric. Was it cashmere? I think it was. And he wanted, it's tiny little bear. I don't know where it is. I don't know if I've got it handy. And I've had it about 5 years. I don't know where it is. I always have it somewhere in my room. Anyway, he found it and he said, Grandma, can I take this home? No. Grandma, please can I take it home? No. Poor William. Right, so look, I've cut into all of my points now as well. Can you see? I've cut into the points. Now, do be careful because obviously they're weak points. If you cut too far, then you'll end up with a hole. So let's read the instructions. I think I know what happens next, but let's give it a go. Oops, there we go. Hold on, right. Stitch round. Trim all the points of the tree to reduce bulk. Clip into the corners as close as you dare. Ooh, it's a bit Halloween-y. Can you see the Halloween stuff? I kind of left that out from the other day. Do you see this long bit of patchworky behind me? That pattern is from Kathryn. and that's called Sassy. And that is only available as an extra pattern in the gold group, and it's a draft excluder. So if you're part of the gold members, of which we've got, I don't know, 670 members, something like that, then you get this pattern for free, and that's from our Kathryn. I do make patterns. Right, so cutting the stitches. Turn through, press well, turn under 1/4 inch on the bottom edge and press, pin, clip or use quilter's tape to hold. See, I knew I needed my quilter's tape. I saw it somewhere, couldn't remember where, so I'm putting my iron on ready. Let's move all my ribbons because I'm going to bring in my ironing mat. So I'm going to turn through. So hopefully you'll have done a back stitch on these two ends, that end and that end, okay? Because as you turn through, you're putting an awful lot of pressure onto the tree. Now what I suggest is you go right up to the top and push that point out first. If you've got a tool, there's my magic wand, then obviously that's when you get it out because it will really help. But do the point first, and then that's what you end up with, okay? And then you can go in and push each branch out. Branch, that's the word. And be careful. And now Gemma hasn't said anything about top stitching, but if you want to top stitch, you top stitch, okay? Nobody is going to tell you off for doing your own thing. And so many people tell me their variations of what they've done, which is fab. I love to see that. And please share it. Please share it on the comments as well, because obviously I get private messages too. Please share so everybody can see what your ideas were. Now, you know, when we trimmed our points, the other thing I quite like to do sometimes is to do a V either side to really trim that down. And I think this could have done with that, but I'm going to just go with it. And you'll understand what I mean when you turn yours through. Maybe you need to snip a little bit more away, because don't forget you've got that wadding there, and it just adds to the bulk wherever you go. Although we've trimmed it back 1/4 inch, it still adds. So look at that, it's amazing. Let me just iron it. I just need to push that out just a little bit more. If you've got this is quite a blunt end. Can you see? That's quite a blunt end. If you've got one that's a little bit more, I'll put it on my top so you can see. There's a bit more of a point, but not a point. Don't use your scissors, in other words. Then maybe that will just take that out another millimetre or so. Depends how fussy you are, okay? And also it depends how you stitched it too. But you mustn't get hung up about it. I won't have it. I want you to all make this. I want you to all make it and post pictures in the Facebook group. Would you do that for me? Because don't forget, I have got an ulterior motive. Don't forget, purely selfish reasons that I want Gemma to make another pattern for me. It's just so that me and Kath can put our feet up, really. Right, there we are. There's the tree pressed. Doesn't it look great? Now, if I remember rightly, we've got to turn under 1/4 inch on the bottom edge, press, pin or clip or use quilter's tape to hold. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll press it under and then I'll go on the overhead and we'll use some quilter's tape, shall we? And this is the last bit you stitch when you pop the pocket on, or one of the edges anyway. So let's just press that. I'll show you when we're on the overhead what that looks like. And just make sure it's nice and straight as best as you can. Best as you can. I don't think I need this anymore. Oh, I might do for the pocket, but right. Let's have a look. Yeah, Kath says, how nice would that be? Is that putting your feet up, Kath? Because I'm with you on that. So let's go on the overhead. There we go. So there's my tree. Probably could do with a steam press, but I'm happy with that. I think it looks amazing. I love all the bobbles, which is obviously looking like the tree lights. I've turned this over 1/4 inch. You can see that. So that looks gorgeous. but I'm going to use my quilter's tape. Now, if you've never had quilter's tape before, it's such a joy to anything stitchy, anything. I always cut my end off because I'm very naughty. I never store it correctly. And I was told categorically one day by somebody how I should be storing it. And I still don't do that because, you know, I'm always in a hurry. Maybe I won't be in a hurry anymore. Anyway, I've pressed one glue side down. Can you see? Okay, if I put that away, there you go, you can just about see. And then all I'm going to do is just pull that away. That leaves me with, I'm going to see if I can get that to flash. It leaves me with this sticky tape. So I'm just going to push that together, and that's a temporary adhesive, okay? It's actually, I think this one is a wash away. I'm pretty sure it's a wash away. So you do need to permanently stitch it if you want to. So in the instructions, don't forget mine is black and white today. Yours may not be. I just thought I'd show you. Yeah, chopsticks. This is a chopstick that I was using. It just happens to be a wand like Harry Potter because it's all rainbow. So that's what I was using. But it hasn't got a sharp enough point. Now, when I say sharp enough, I want you to look at that. Oh, it's not easy to show you. There you are. That's as good as. So this is nice and blunt, but if you think the tree has fairly pointy bits, I've used this one, which is actually a turning tool anyway, to actually just get that last little bit out. But please don't use scissors. You'll just go straight through. Yeah. So yeah, chopstick is what I've been using. So in the instructions, which as you know, I've printed in black and white to save colour ink, but only just as an example for you. So on the pocket, so you remember these are my pocket pieces. It says, find the centre of one pocket piece and lay the quilter's tape across, peel off the backing, place a piece of ribbon on top and stitch in place. Repeat in the other direction to create a cross. To create a cross. It's like a tongue twister. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to stick that down with quilter's tape. So there's my tree. I'm going to keep that there for a moment, I think, the mat. Just maybe, let me just see if it shows up. Oh no, okay, it shows up okay there. So we're going to use one piece. We want the right side. Okay, we want the right side facing us. Now you can find the centre by just folding in half and giving yourself a little crease, and then you'll be perfectly placed. And actually I've got two bits to stick down, I'll be honest with you. So I'm going to quilter's tape one. Okay, just bear with. You'll see in a minute why I've done this. There's a reason for my madness. It's a little excessive, I know. I wouldn't normally do as much, but I want to show you what I'm going to do. So I've done 3 rows. Okay, now you don't have to do this. This is just me. This is what I wanted to do. In the pattern, it's 1 row. Okay, 1 row. So I just happen to have a massive supply of this fabulous rickrack. So I'm going to put 1, and I shall move this if it's not quite right. And then again. So I'm trying to hide my glue like that. But you might want to just use 1/2 inch ribbon. So this one's going over the top, see? Now you understand. So I could move my rickrack a little bit there, couldn't I? Let me just cut it like that. And I'm just going to move that a wee bit. That's the great thing about quilter's tape. You can actually readjust. So I'll just move it up a bit. And I don't think we've got a satin side with that, so I'm just going to pop that down. There we are. I'm going to leave it like that, otherwise I should be fiddling all night. The other one, let's just cut a length off, is going to go like that, but I'm going to stitch this one down first and then I'm going to do that one, okay? So it looks gorgeous, and then that ribbon is particularly good for making bows. So let's switch you over to the camera, to the needle cam. There we go. And so I'm going to stitch that first layer in place. So there we are. So you can see what that looks like. Okay, really pretty. And all I'm going to do is catch the edge of the, oh, don't forget I've got black underneath, guys, so it might come up through the bottom. So, but please forgive me for that. I had it like that for the weekend, well, at the weekend, and then I never did change it. That's better. So I'm just stitching all the way along. I'm just going to go down to the other side. Let's do one more stitch and then come back. So if your tension was a little bit looser, the black little marks wouldn't show. Well, let me show you, because it's always good to see. It's only because I've got black in my bobbin. All right. So let's just trim that off. So all I'm doing is just snipping off that, so that's nice and neat. It's not essential. Okay, so we're nice and snipped. So then the next one we're going to do down. So I just need to find the center again. So let's try and get it all in the middle. That would be a good thing to do. So I'm just giving that a crease. And please use your quilter's tape. Don't just go for it like me. Let's cut a piece of rickrack and then line this up. Hopefully I've got that lined up okay. And then I'm just going to make my way down. So let's lay the ribbon over, and my rickrack should sit just underneath. So let's hope we've got that lined up. But you obviously use your quilter's tape. You know, you could stitch the rickrack down first. You know, there's lots of things you can do. But I saw this just to the side of me today on my desk, the rickrack, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that because it will look just absolutely gorgeous. So let's just trim that away. And I'm going to trim that away so we start off neat. Cut another length of rickrack. And because it's already in place, all I've got to do is lift up that side and just stitch up the other side. So let's just tuck it underneath and come up the other side. I mean, the only problem I can see with doing so many layers, and it's good to have a little think about this, is that when we turn this through and we need to have the turning gap on the bottom, we've got a lot of layers going on there, but we will absolutely you know, do our best to make sure that it goes under enough for us to top stitch. We'll give it a good go, shall we? So in the pattern, now I'm going to hold you there just for a moment. It says place the pocket pieces right sides together, pin and sew all the way around, leaving the bottom seam open for turning. Okay, so I've got my right side. Let's get you in the shot. We've got right side here, right sides together. So we're going to stitch all the way around. So we're going to stitch up here, across the top, down the other side, like that, and we're going to leave this open just like we did before. Okay, good. So let's do that. So nice back stitch to start off with, so it's lovely and strong for when we're turning through, all the way up, across the top, and down the other side. Make sure your edges meet so the pocket keeps nice and straight and it doesn't twist. So I'll show you the side with the black stitching on maybe. Let me show you the other side, the white stitching. So what we'll do is we'll clip these corners where we've stitched and then we'll turn through, okay? So, oops, I'm getting attached to my desk here. So let me just change the camera view. Just takes a moment for me to do that. So bear with, I'll go to the front camera for just a moment. So let's get rid of all our bits. I'll bring in my pressing mat. So we're good to go. And we'll just trim the corners. So, now I think what I'll do is I'll show you what I mean about when I said to you, on those points of the tree you could cut a little bit more. So let me just show you on the overhead what I'm talking about, because you'll think, what does she mean? What's she talking about? So there we are. Let me put it on the white. So look, can you see we've cut those corners off? Well, on the tree, not necessarily this, but on the tree, I would go in a bit more, yeah? So let me just do that. Not too much. I don't want you to get carried away. I think if you do this and make a mistake, first of all, you'll be very sad, but secondly, you'll have learnt that perhaps that's not quite what I meant. So, do you see, we've trimmed and trimmed, and we've gone nearly up to the points. If I bring this up to you, hold on, let's see if I can get it at the right angle. Can you see what that looks like? If I do it like that, hopefully you can see. So we'll turn it through, we'll give it a press. What does Gemma say in the pattern? Must, she's the boss today, so we'll keep it. Let's have a look. Turn through and press, got that. Pin the pocket onto the tree as shown, top stitch around 3 sides, closing the turning gaps on both tree and pocket. Remember to leave the top open. Okay. Now, hopefully your machines will cope with going through all of these layers. Now then, if your machine struggles in any way to go through this layer and this layer as well, then I would suggest that you turn through, you top stitch it down here if you can, and then just hand stitch that at the bottom, the two together. I'll show you when we get there. So I think what I might do is just turn this over while it's like this. Sometimes it's easier to do it like this. I know it looks a bit weird. If it's more than 1/4 of an inch, I'm not going to tell you off. I am not coming around your house and saying that's not 1/4 of an inch. All right. So just be aware that if you turn that over 3/8, I'm not going to know. I'm not going to know. So go up to the top like you did with the tree and push that through. You'll find it a lot easier. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, so I'm using my chopstick. See how I get on. If I don't like the points, I'll go in with something a little bit more pointy. Now, because we already turned that 1/4 of an inch open, under, then it's good to go. Okay, it looks really good, doesn't it? My points aren't particularly pointy, so I might use that secondary tool to go in there and just push those out a little bit. Be careful. There we go. That's super. I'm going to press this from the wrong side because my iron is hot. If you think that your ribbon is compromised by heat, for goodness sake, press on the back. If you're going on the front like mine, perhaps use a damp cloth as a protector. We don't want to spoil what we've just done. My goodness me, we'd be fed up. We would be fed up, wouldn't we? I would. Gosh. Okay. So I've turned my iron off. So don't forget, we've got quite a lot of layers going on here now. You've got double layers of fabric here. That could be better just there, but let's not look. We've got double layers going on here. We've got extra ribbon layers. We've got rick-rack as well, all going on underneath, yeah? So there's lots of layers. If you wanted to, you could use your quilter's tape and glue those together. I don't know if she says that. It doesn't matter if she doesn't, because that's what you could do. And what we need to do is one lays on top of the other. Let's bring that in so you can actually see it. And you're going to stitch down here, both sides. Let me get this finger out of the way so you don't confuse yourself. Down here, across here and up. Now, like I just said before, if your machine struggles in any way, then try and do this bit, but hand stitch that. Look at this, you've got all of those layers going on. It should be fine. I'm just giving you an option in case you struggle, and I don't want you to think that this is wrong in any way. It's absolutely not wrong, okay? So let's put you on the machine camera. Let's do that and bring you in on the old side view. There we go. And if you can see Gemma in the comments, I haven't seen her yet, but I'm sure she's here. Perhaps she's a little nervous. Let's have a quick look on YouTube. Jackie's there, and Nicola is there, Kath's there. We've got Christine and Elizabeth as well. Let's see, I wonder if Gemma, maybe it's her little boy's bedtime, so maybe it's yeah, I'm just sort of sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. Oh, Gemma Joy, Gemma is there. Look, Gemma's there on Facebook. So guys, go and say hi to Gemma. Say you're amazing. We need you to do a Facebook Live next time. I'm going to have to come down and go across the bottom, aren't I? Pin this, guys. Pin this, please. Go and give us some love. Go and send her some hearts. Go and give her a hug. Tell her that she's amazing. And then she'll do it again. Oh, by the way, change the needle in your machine. That will also help you go through all the layers. Clean your machine out again. All of this helps with your sewing. I could have done that a little bit nearer to the bottom of the pocket. And yeah, hopefully you've given her lots and lots of love, told her how brilliant she is. Don't forget, this is purely selfish, all right? I should have moved my pocket over a little bit. You'll see when I take it off here. Okay, so there we are. There's my pocket stitched on. So you see, I could have come a little bit lower on the bottom seam there. But look at that, it's amazing. Oh, fantastic. I love it. Oh, we need to do a bow and a bell now, don't we? Right, let's go back to the overhead, because we need to do a bow and a bell. In fact, I probably should have stitched that on before before I did this, but we could hot glue it if I had my hot glue handy. Hold on, I think my hot glue gun is over here. Bear with. Oh, if it's got enough charge, that is. Oops. So don't forget, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't matter that it's 3D, because there's nothing going on. It's not like a mat where you're going to put your plate on it. So hopefully my hot glue gun works. So I'm just going to do the 2 loops and the twist just to get that bow nice. You don't want a massive bow. You don't want a tiny bow. You want a bow that's going to make a statement. I think that's fine. I've got a bell. Let's cut at an angle. You can cut these if you want. Your choice. And then I've got a bell as well, which we can just tuck underneath. So hopefully I've got enough glue. Oh yeah, tons. Tons of glue. And then I'm going to glue the bell on. You can stitch these on, obviously, but stitch them on before you stitch it down onto your project, okay? Before you sew it down. Right, let's turn the glue gun off before we get glue strings everywhere. So obviously, if you're going to stitch it on, I've got them stuck to me glue. If you're going to stitch this on, this bell could actually sit on top of the top of the bow, yeah. And somewhere, I think it depends what size your cutlery is. I don't know if I'll get them all in. That's my fault. I just thought, oh, blue, that'll match. So there we are. Look at that. That's awesome. Look at that. It's amazing. I love it. That's super, isn't it? And these, actually, these bits, the handles, are quite big. I never thought of measuring. But you know what? We're all different, aren't we, with all our different projects? If you think your handles are bigger than mine, leave the spoon out. Just have the knife and fork. Okay, sits nicely. Look at that, beautiful. Sorry about the glare. And then when you, Gemma says, put the fork on top of the spoon. Oh heck! Gosh, she's dressing my table now. See what I mean? She's gone all, you know, designer-esque. What's she, diva? Gone a bit diva-ish. She won't mind me saying that. But what you could do, if you've only got your knife and fork because you're not having puddings because you're on a diet, that's perfectly fine. If not, do what Gemma says. You put your fork on top of your spoon. Now, I'm sorry about the flashing. Lovely. Oh, it's such a treat. It's such a treat. It's such a treat to make somebody else's pattern up because I've never made that before. So I didn't know how it's going to go. I didn't know how well my machine was going to cope or what the fabric was going to look like. Look at that. Amazing. I need you to go and make loads of these. I am merely the demonstrator. Gemma is the one that designed the pattern. She made the pattern up. She took all the photographs. Kath then took all of that information and wrote up the pattern along with Gemma's guidance. And I just gave it to you guys. So I hope you like it. I think it's absolutely fabulous. I'm really tempted to make loads. I'm going to Abigail's for Christmas lunch. I think I've told her. So maybe I should make loads for her table. I'll have to find out what colours she's using. So there we are. That is Making It Monday, Project 48. It's the Christmas Cutlery Keeper. And it's yours from the website lizzycurtis.com. Go to the shop, get the download, the list, the menu, and look for MIM patterns, and it's in there. And as soon as this is finished, the video will be available on the website as well under MIM video tutorials. I think it says MIM videos, but you'll see it. It's pretty obvious. So don't forget, go and make one. I should be ever so pleased if you do. We've had just under 400 people watching us all evening on Facebook and YouTube, which is amazing. And thank you so much for watching. We've come to the end of the hour, so that was well timed. And I'm sorry if I'm flashing the cutlery. I'm trying not to. If I turn it to one side, maybe. Doesn't it look sweet? I'm really very pleased with it. Easily pleased. But yeah, the fabric's gorgeous, of course. The design is sensational. So well done, Gemma. Thanks very much for watching. I'm so pleased you could join me this evening. Thank you very much for supporting me and being part of the Lizzy Curtis gang, which is me and all my wonderful ladies on the admin team. That's Jackie, Kath, Gemma, Nick and Karen. I remembered. And I shall see you all again next Monday. So next Monday is, I think, is it the last of the Christmas patterns next Monday? Have we got two more? I can't remember. Oh, actually, the 31st is on the Sunday, isn't it? And the 1st of November is the Monday. So maybe we'll squeeze another pattern in, a Christmas pattern. Let me know. If not, we'll go back to our regular patterns that have been tried and tested for almost the last year, the last 12 months. Okay, good night, everybody. I'm going to leave you with the gorgeous picture of Gemma's Christmas Cutlery Keeper. And I'll see you all again next week. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.